Well, welcome to North American Trapper. Just like every other year, we're going to start this one off out on my dad's cable restraint line. You can see we're in his shed here. This is where he has his critters and antlers and turkey fans, and he's got all of his trapping stuff all hid behind here. But we're starting this year off as we always do with him out on his cable line. And you know, for those of you that don't know, we lost Dad a couple months ago. It's been a very hard time, and you know, he's been a very integral part of this North American Trapper process, if not more so than me, because what I've been doing is doing what I learned from him. So we're gonna get out there. You're gonna see the footage from his line here this past January. It's actually the last time that I filmed him, and we're actually going to show that in this whole show. Not that every other one's not dedicated to him, but this one's definitely dedicated to him, and he's got a really important message at the end of this show that I think everybody can learn from. And you know, when it's happening and I'm filming it, I don't really understand the magnitude of that story, but I think that everybody will enjoy this show a lot. So let's head out there with Dad right now.
As you can see, this is one of the lucky spots, because every year we catch one here. Last year we caught a couple, and I see today we have a nice red fox. You can see he's not tangled up. We'll explain that as we go through this a little bit. You can see the circle he makes. Usually when you buy these cables from the company, they're like 5 feet long. I cut a foot off of them and make them 4 feet, because it's really hard, even on private ground, to set them where they're not going to get entangled. So I cut mine to 4, and I have very little trouble with entanglements. And that's one thing you have to avoid when you use the cable, because we're trying to use best management practices and limit the damage to the animal. Here we have a nice red, and we'll go through and see if we have anything else today. We'll take care of him and explain a little more about it.
Welcome back to Duke Trap's presentation of North American Trapper with Alan Probst.
This is a perfect spot. Perfect spot every year. You come right out this trail, and I had to move out here a ways. I had to cut some of this stuff down out here, and I made it big enough that 4 feet, 8 feet across, perfect. He wasn't tangled up. You can see some of the stuff that I had just stuck in. When you set these cables, you can't have anything a ½ inch thick or thicker. It's got to be smaller than that. And what I do, I even cut, if they're not even a ½ inch, I cut them and just stick them in. And that works perfectly. You can see the cable. The place to catch them's right around the neck. If you get your loop too big, you'll catch them back here around the shank. And you don't want to do that. But that's a nice red fox, and that'll cut down on some of the animals that might be killed. He preys upon here, birds, rabbits, squirrels. There's some groundhogs in here now. So we're going to cut this. They ruin it, and when you catch one in a cable, the cable's ruined. You can use some of the parts again, but the cable's all twisted up and everything. And I'll show you a new one when we set. I'd love to get another one in here somewhere, but might be pretty hard. But this is perfect every year. Every year when we come in here, this is the first place we usually catch one, right here. A lot of fun. We're helping out with the predator-prey relationships, helping the gentleman out that has the ground here. He appreciates it. And you get some exercise in doing it also. I don't go into it like I used to. I used to set a lot of steel traps, and in other words, I saw this explained in a book. Usually you're playing on a 100-yard football field. You get a little older, you get down to 75 yards, 50 yards. You just move down a little bit. And now I'm to the point where all I'm setting for predators are cables. They're so easy to carry, it's so easy to set, and I love coming out and doing the pre-season work. That's very important. Come out, make your trails, get them used to using them. Then when you set them, they come in no problem. And you disguise them, they just think it's like another weed. They'll go right through them. Never had any trouble. It's really hard to get another set in there. A couple places out here you'll see, if I catch a fox, I have 2 or 3 other spots real close to it that I can put another set. But we're going to try here. They do come up through here. You can see their path. And there's nothing here they can get entangled with, so I don't have to really do much here except set it. You look, I think I'll put it right in here where it's pretty natural. You got some weeds and stuff here. So we'll try one here. It's a little off of that trail, but they do use this. Because when there was snow, I saw where one come up through here. I don't worry about touching anything. I have my hip boots on. I have these cotton gloves on. I take my time. I'm in no hurry. Once you get a little older, you do slow down a little bit. So I'm no hurry. I have 2 good spots that I put cables. This is one of them, and there's another one that we're going to maybe get into later on this cable season. And I trapped many years using steel traps, getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, taking Dad with me before I went to school. I have a good story I'll tell if we get time. Here's the cable. When you buy these, they're like about 5 feet long. I cut them down to 4. So that's another 2 feet I don't have to worry about trimming out. This is your cable. And when you set them, for fox, they got to be 6 inches off the ground and no higher than 12. And if they're set right and disguised right, when they go through them, they slide right down, nothing to it. On cables in Pennsylvania, you need a breakaway. And here's the breakaway, that little S-hook. I never had anything that big get on and break that away. And this is the sliding lock. As you get one, it goes down. Now, as the animal is pulling on that remains tight. But as soon as they release pressure pulling on it, that releases a little bit. So it's not going to harm the animal. One of the big differences, cable restraint and snare, cable restraint, you keep the animal alive. The snare, they're set so they dispatch the animal. The only thing you can use snares for in Pennsylvania is beaver underwater. Here's a stop. This is as big as you can make your circle. That's too big. This is like 38 inches in circumference, something like that, close. But you want, for fox, you put them about 6 inches off and then 6 inches across. Coyotes, you'd go to 10 or 12. And if you're trapping both of them, you maybe go in between and try it. I usually set them just for fox. So there's the stop. You can't set it any bigger than that.
Welcome back to Duke Trap's presentation of North American Trapper with Alan Probst.
Here's the cable. When we're done, that's what it's going to look like. We hope. And when they go through there, boom, right down. Now, they only go down so far. Won't go any further than that. And that's the deer stop. If you get a deer in there, they can get out of that. And I've probably had quite a few deer get in them, because I set some of these on deer trails. But they do get out of them. You get some deer hair on them, but they escape. There's the cable, stake. The part I use is a talon anchor. We'll put that in. I don't worry about scent because they're not thinking of scent. They're just going through their natural travel. They go through these in the evening. Here's my support wire. I use 11 gauge. That's really strong. You want that to be strong. When they bump that, it goes off. If these are loose, you'd probably miss them. You can miss them even if it's the way it's supposed to be. That goes in front. There's your support wire, and you can bend this a little bit. However, it works the best when you get it down in there. That's got to be tight. And I'll show you how I make it tight. And you bring your loop up. This is a plastic collar to attach the stabilizing wire to. Now, a lot of fellows like to use those wire collars, but I like the plastic ones. And this, when you first try it, it might be off a little bit. Now that's a good 6 inches above the ground. And you got the weeds here sort of hiding it. Now you can see how flimsy that is. So I cut some stronger pieces off and stick them right down that hole. Sometimes I use two. Now you see how sturdy that is. One comes through there, boom. That's pretty much all there is to it. So they're used to running these trails and things. That's pretty good right there. Then what I'll do sometimes, just bring some weeds up a little bit. This one was pretty good right where it was. Like I say, you can carry a whole bucket full of those cables and there's no weight to them. I take a little longer to set them than most guys. But all I have is time, so I just take my time. I enjoy it. Once in a while we get lucky.
Wasn't perfect?
Probably not. Probably still isn't. Oh, let's go look at the other one.
All right, buddy.
See what happens.
Welcome back to Duke Trap's presentation of North American Trapper with Alan Probst.
Well, here's a couple more that I put in. We only had, these are the last two we're checking today. We only had the one red, but you can see how I camouflage these, and they're hid pretty good. Come down here and we'll look at them. And I know this is a trail here because I saw tracks on it. Then there's one right here. And before you were allowed to set, we had a little snow. I come out here, one come right up through there. But he'll be back. That's hid pretty good with that weeds and grass around it. They're all my sets look like that, pretty much. This is always a nice place to go. Nobody comes in here and bothers you. You can see the end of the field. I think we had about 12 sets in here. Well, we have 12 now. We had 11 when I caught that one. We put another one in. We're supposed to get some snow in a couple days, and we'll see how many tracks we're going to get. But probably a pair of reds, because they're starting to mate pretty soon. There probably was another one with that one. We'll see what goes tomorrow. Beautiful day today. I didn't think it was supposed to be this nice out. But there you have it. It's just a lot of fun. Come out and do it. Nobody bothers my sets in here. The owner doesn't even bother him. He comes around on his four-wheeler to check them out once in a while. I've told a lot, and I hesitate to tell it so much. But I told it, it really impacted a lot of people. I know it did. I was in my 20s, hunting deer out in the Hazard Road. About around dinner time, I don't usually walk around, but I took a little hike that day, and up on top of the mountain, I met this older gentleman. He's probably about the age of me now, probably in the 70s or so. And we talked for a little bit, not long, and last thing he said to me, I still get the chills. He said, "Son, enjoy this, because you're going to do this sometime for the last time." And I think of that all the time. That no matter what you do, trapping, hunting, fishing, you're going to catch that last fish sometime. You're gonna shoot the last deer sometime, catch the last fox sometime, climb the mountain sometime, the last time. So you enjoy all the experiences you have. I never forgot that. And I know there's a lot of other people that heard it never forgot it.